What's going on? My name is Sid, and this is going to be the ultimate skills guide. I'm going to go through everything you need to know about skills, just everything I can tell you to get them done to the best of your ability. And I do a bunch of this kind of stuff, so head down there, subscribe with notifications on, would very much be appreciated. Check the pinned comment for any updates on this. If there's not, it will just say this video is still up to date. If it isn't, then it will say. So without wasting any time, as you go down there and subscribe, I'll go into the actual guide. For those of you who are sort of unaware of what skills are, they can be found across the map and you can teleport to them and do them in the open world. However, they're also included in the live summit in a more controlled environment, as well as you can go to them in the pause menu here. There's different types of skills for each family, and there's a bunch of different types individually as well, including slaloms, escapes, low altitudes, aerobatics, Bouy Smashing, and Speedtrap. I'll explain the fundamentals of how each one works when I get to their sections in this video. 2 general tips for all skills: go into pilot and icon, and then go over to the right one and put all your things on skilled. This will increase the amount of points you get for point-based skills, and then go to the left and make sure you have pure, refill speed, frenetic, and any other nitro-based ones you can. Also, pro settings for every vehicle in the game will be a link in the description. You can click that and that will take you to a page for pro settings. So let's begin with one of the more simple ones, speed traps.
Do you kids have any idea how fast you were going?
Was it, too fast?
So as you can see, the premise of speed traps is hitting the location at the highest speed possible. So there's a couple things that play into this. First of all is the vehicle you use. Basically, for every single speed trap, it will be this: the Corvette Stingray in drag. It is the fastest drag vehicle. No other vehicle actually comes anywhere close. The next thing is parts. The parts on the car, as you can see, are the frenetic and pure affixes. What this does is pure increases your nitro power, and frenetic increases the power even more per second of usage. And you can see all of those are nitro chemist parts, activating the nitro set bonus, meaning that the car now has twice the amount of nitro as it did before. To begin maximizing your possible speed on a speed trap, make sure you go as far away as you can from the speed trap as possible. This will be limited in the summit version of speed traps. In that case, just go to the very edge of the border and go from there. Whenever given the opportunity, attempt to use things like cycling lanes to avoid all traffic. However, as you'll see here, the physics can sometimes make this inevitable. So in that scenario, you just gotta try it over and over until you get the best run. If doing this on your own, nitro slightly later so you are able to hit the speed trap while nitroing, because you rapidly lose speed as soon as nitro stops engaging. Combining all this gives us this run right here. However, there's still one issue, and that is where we go from. If you see, when we teleport over to the speed trap, it puts us here. However, not every speed trap puts you in the perfect position. The route this one places you in has way too many bumps, causing you to go in the air, reducing your speed. So for many speed traps like this one, you want to find different routes of hitting the speed trap. For example, this one, you go from the left. Now, combining all of this together, you can get the perfect speed trap run. Also, you can use slipstream, just have the other person ahead of you, use emotes to count down, and then nitro slightly earlier. The person at the back is the one intending to get the final score, so the one at the front should dive to one side if they're about to hit them. But for now, let's move on to slaloms.
お前はもう死んでいる。
Slaloms, once you enter, give you the goal of going alternating sides of a point, being scored based on the amount of time from one point to the next point, as well as a multiplier that is built up by getting multiple consecutive points in a row. You then also get points for completion, giving you your final score. So, although this one is trial and error of playing it again and again and attempting to improve your own skill at the game and your knowledge of the turning system in the game, there is a few cars that you should use that give you the greatest advantage over other players. Two of those being the best two, are the HX Concept Hummer. One being the Enforcer unit that was a summit car, and then the normal HX Concept, which is the hobbies car. Although it is an absolute grind to unlock that car, I would recommend it as it is one of the best slalom vehicle entirely. Now, I'm aware that there is also pro racing slaloms, however, yes, the HX Concept is also the best in those. Other alternatives to the HX Concept and the Enforcer unit are the Ford Raptor F-150 Enforcer unit and the Land Rover Defender. As for parts, as you can see here, I'm using a pure and skilled set. Pure, as we said before, boosts the amount of power your nitro produces, and skilled actually increases the amount of points you get from skills. Combined with the full set being a skilled set which further doubles all points gained from skills, this makes slaloms a absolute breeze to max out your scores. And there you go. With all that information, that should be all you need to know for slaloms. However, very few slaloms, and when I say few, I do mean few, also do have a exploit where if you favorite the Land Rover Defender, as this is one of the slalom vehicles that is best at retaining speed, fly away from the skill from when you have to enter, then double back and favorite back to the Land Rover, hitting the slalom. This is very, very hard to perfect, and you will have to play it over and over again, but when you get it, you can see you get a massive boost of speed from the start instead of just having to go from zero. Again, this is only for certain slaloms, and the other information still applies, giving us runs like these. Remaining on the topic of slaloms, you'll know there's one other kind of slalom, and that is boat slaloms. Now, I'm going to keep this one simple because I explain a lot more stuff like this later on. One, the parts should stay the same, pure, skilled, similar. Instead, you use a boat, and that being the Froscher Demon 1414. Again, it's one of those things where it's more skill and playing it over and over again, but one thing for console players is if you go into game settings, go to Y-axis invert and invert your boat Y-axis, this will make it so you lean forward to trim to go faster. Although only a subtle change, it means you have much more control over your vehicle, and although I don't have footage as I don't play on PC, you can go into your key binds and bind trim backwards to L2, as you never normally need to brake in a boat. This only being for PC, as you're only able to rebind buttons on the PC version of the game. So let's move on to the next thing and keep it on the boat theme. Bouy smashing. Yes, buoy smashing pertains to exactly what it says on the tin. You smash the buoys that are in the water, however you have to avoid the red ones as those will reset your multiplier. You build up your multiplier by consecutively smashing the normal ones, and those build up points, and this is affected by the same things as before. The exact same pure and skilled set, the same boat, the Froscher. It is an absolutely amazing boat, and again, there's not really anything other than use this boat as it hits all of the things. It's big, it handles well. However, one little tip, and this is the introduction of ghosts. Go up to the skill, select it, and go to leaderboard, and there you can pick anyone and select ghost. That will show their run overlapped on what you're doing in a translucent boat ghost that you can then choose to follow in an attempt to imitate their run. Other than that, I mean, that's buoy smashing. There it is. Let's take to the skies for the next skill, but let's not go too high up, because let's move on to low altitude.
Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet.
Low altitude skills require you to be in a plane and fly as low as possible without actually touching the ground. It gives you points based on how low you fly and how long you fly at that height. The multiplier grows based on how close you are to the ground, and also your multiplier can go even higher if you fly upside down. I would recommend prioritizing flying upside down due to this fact, and also you can also set ghosts to see what are the best route to take. You preferably want to go wherever is the flattest and the simplest way with the least obstacles. I will say that I recommend putting on the ghost through the pause menu if you choose to use a ghost and not just look up the right route. The parts to use are the ones we've been using already, as this is a point-based skill, so it's pure and skilled. Other than that, that's just how you do low altitude. So let's go from flying low to flying with style in aerobatics.
Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
So Aerobatics is the second to last one, just has you go through these gates when you enter. You get points for as accurately as you go through these gates. That consisting of being as close to the center of the gate as possible and also matching the tilt of your plane perfectly to the angle that is shown on the gate. You also get more points based on how quickly you reach the final gate. So as we all know, the perfect parts for this are the pure and skilled scorebreaker set, obviously maximizing all kinds of points that we can get. And the plane you want to be using is the Harmon Rocket HR3. It's the best to handle and the zippiest plane for these events. And unfortunately for that, as far as past that, it's more just skill. You're going to have to play it as many times as you can to get that perfect run. One thing I can recommend is bumping up your controller dead zone in case you have stick drift of any kind. And other than that, yeah, there's not a lot else. So unfortunately, we're now gonna have to go on to probably the most annoying type, and that is, well, that's escapes. So, escapes, where to even begin? First of all, I'm going to be using footage from RCP Lambo. He's an escape player, as well as a bunch of other people who play escapes, and that leads on to my first tip. When doing escapes, search up the name of the escape you are trying to play, and then you will see a bunch of record runs on those escapes. Although ghosts do help, and help just as much as they did before, because escapes go on for a very long time and sometimes you could lose a ghost or you end up ahead of the ghost, the best thing to do is watch a full run of an escape. Then you know the exact route to go, because some can go on for almost 10 minutes. So for escapes, as you enter, the goal is simple. Get as much distance as you can while the point you entered to begin with expands, and if that point touches you, you then lose. And with this gameplay in the back, you may be wondering how the vehicle is turning like that. He's of course using the Corvette Drag Stingray, and the parts to use are a simple drag pure nitrochemist and frenetic set. However, there is another option which I will get to later, but for now this is your best bet. But the problem is you want to be playing on wheel. These kind of turns can't be done on controller, you'll notice that. Instead, these have to be done on wheel as the game is just overpowered for wheel. The drag cars are much more responsive and can even turn like street cars when playing on wheel. A good alternative to a drag car on wheel, if you're on controller, is an Alpha GP vehicle. That being with this part set, the Nitro Chemist with pure and refill speed. And finally, for certain escapes, the Regera Hypercar is the best vehicle. However, the set you want to use is Nitro Chemist, pure refill, and all of them have to have Muddy, which decreases the amount of speed you lose when you're going off-road. And some escapes will even require you to use the thing where you fly away from the escape, double back, and then land in the vehicle, like we mentioned for the Slaloms earlier. To know which vehicle to use on each escape, like I said, search up the escape you're wanting to do. Look at the run, look at what vehicle they use, and then go the route they take. This is the same for the summits, an escape in the open world, whatever it means. Of course, there is also boat escapes, but for this you still want to be using the Froscher, the go-to boat for everything, but use parts like these, a Nitro Chemist pure and extra pump set, because you want to get as far as you can. And there's different exploits for different boat escapes, but for most of them, you just need to know the right route and then go fast. So again, the same stuff applies. Look up the skill, look up the escape, and then use that run as a basis and attempt to recreate that run as well as using ghosts. And like I said before, you can go into the pause menu, game, invert Y-axis, and switch boat axis to on, so you're leaning forward to go faster, as well as on PC, go ahead and rebind trimming to L2. So you can hold that the entire time. And that's it for escapes, but not only that, but that's it for all the skills in the game. That's every bit of knowledge I have and that I could give to you. So that's all the information that I could give. I hope you did go through all of it, and you know, it's a fair bit of bulk things to sit through, but it's all the stuff that can help you in skills. So hope it comes in handy doing the summit, doing whatever. Of course, remember, if there's any changes to any meta cars, any parts changes, or maybe I make a new updated guide, that will be in the pinned comment. So check that out if you need. But if not, this is the video for you. Thank you to popular members, special thank you to famous members, an insane thank you to star member Lucas Kirkland, and an insane thank you to Icon member For the Love of Life. That's about it from me in a bit.
My heart spills, so I'm cleaning up a mess, yeah. I gotta go to church, feel the demons at my neck, yeah. When I'm on a pill, I be feeling like I'm blessed, it's a curse. When I'm on the drugs, I'm the worst, shawty. Tell me how it feels, tell me does it hurt. Tell me if it's wrong when I'm lifting up your shirt, shawty. Tell me if it's real, or would you leave me in the dirt?